Welcome. It is Sunday about lunchtime, and this is kind of the start of our week. We have markets on Saturdays. Saturday afternoon is kind of my weekend, and then from there, Sunday we do microgreen planting, we do some transplanting, soil blocking if it's needed, and just kind of take an overall look at the farm. So we're now at the point of just taking an overall look at the farm, see where things are at. So let's take a look and see how things are going. Kind of a little bit of a recap as to where things are as well. If you haven't been getting our newsletters, you can see it here. This is our next plot, 4 more beds. It'll look just like the other ones we've been building. They're lined out at the moment. No, the beds, plants don't care about strings or straight lines, but when you're doing bed development, it's pretty helpful to kind of have a guide of where to dig the walkways out. So what we do is the 18-inch walkway, we dig that out about 2 or 3 inches, move the dirt onto the bed, and then we'll bring in some compost from the pile that we have over there, or the compost that we make from the farm refuse, and we'll top these beds and turn them in together. That'll be a very shallow light tilling, and it'll be the last till that this bed ever sees as far as that goes. The walkways will get backfilled with wood chips to kind of hold the space between the rows to make sure the bed rows don't wash away. And when it's all said and done, it'll look a lot like this one. This one has already got the sprinklers going. We fed this past week. We tossed some fertilizer to it because of the rains, and I can tell that it's already responding. We won't get a full harvest out of it this time, but this is the first crops to come out of this plot, and it will only get better from here. So what we've got over here on the far right is some turnips. Back there we have some radish, and then 2 types of mixed greens. We have some purple cauliflower right here, and then we have arugula and lettuce, I think is what is in this one. Some wildfire lettuce from Johnny's. Looking inside the tunnel, you can see that we got the plastic pulled this week. Kind of backing up a little bit, the end walls, we've got them framed out, they've been framed out, but we'll put channel lock on all the 2x4s, pull some plastic over that, and lock it into place. For right now, the doorways will just stay open. I will figure out how to set up the plastic for the doorways so that it's functional and more or less windproof as winter comes on. But in here we have 2 rows of cauliflower, some mixed greens, arugula, turnips, and radish, and all of that will be coming up. Based on the greens, they'll probably be next week. The arugula is kind of looking the same. It has really greened up nicely since getting some fertilizer on it this past week. Let's see what else we got going on over here. These beds of cabbage got washed out. My original look after the last rain, I thought we had lost about 40% of the 1,000+ starts that we put in before. But it ended up being closer to like 90%. A lot of it was exposed root damage, where the plants got so much rain, such a heavy rain, that it moved a lot of soil. And again, these are new beds, they're not quite there yet. Anyway, it exposed the roots of the transplants, and before we could get out here and get them covered back up, the roots dried and didn't make it. So you can see some spotty ones left over. We've already started a whole nother round of cabbage to backfill this and try again. Our black magic, same thing, it didn't do very well. That dino kale, we have a few plants at the end that kind of made it, but the rest of them not so much. So we have a whole new planting ready to go for that. And that's kind of covers all of that. Let's see, our cover crop over here, Sudan grass, it's actually doing really well. We have not fertilized that at all, other than when it just got put in. So that is there, just kind of holding the soil still, keep things from moving. The roots keep the ground living, keep things going. Just overall purpose of the cover crop. But we're kind of walking across the field. You can see behind me, we got rid of that pile this past week. We got that cleaned up. We dug out all of the stumps and major logs and all that stuff. They'll be hauled over to the burn pile and tossed on top of that. Hoping to get the burn pile started as soon as we have a really good northeast wind. And I say that because we have a lot of plastic on this property, and I need a northeast wind to push any kind of smoke or embers away from everything that we've got built here. Speaking of which, let's come on in and take a look at the greenhouse real quick. There's a lot of construction stuff still on the ground right now. We're kind of still in process, but what we did get done, and you may have seen this on one of our posts, we got the water wall assembled. We got all of the end walls put up. It is really hot in here right now because I don't have the system turned on. But we also got this part of the water wall, which is the outside louver. This will open and close. And this is the frame for the motor that controls it. You can kind of see the switch back there hanging. I've still got some wiring to do, some op checking of the controller to do. But so far, that's what we've gotten done over here. What there is left to do is, for some reason, this fan turns on when it's less than 84 degrees, and when it gets to 84 degrees, it shuts off. I know it's a problem in the controller, but I haven't been able to figure out what's causing it. So we'll work on that some more. Let's see what else. The gable vent up here, that has a louver on the other side, and right now I have them tied together electrically so that when this turns on, the gable vent will open. But according to the manual and the way the panel is set up, the gable vent on the far end is supposed to have its own control, meaning it will open and close, not always associated with the gable fan. So I need to redo that connection and run a new wire over to the box. I need to get about another 25 feet of cable to do that. That's a pretty quick install a junction box, wire cap it off, and make the extra 25-foot run. That's pretty simple. All in all, I have about a half a day's worth of work as far as plumbing out the water wall and connecting the motors and fixing the gable vent connection. It's like 4 to 6 hours worth of wiring and focus. The door, like this door, we have a screen door on the floor. It's a storm door that we got from the Habitat. Measurement wise, it fits, but the door jamb itself is not exactly square, and it doesn't have some place to like screw in a latch for a catch to shut the door on. So we have to figure that out. Like if anybody has any experience framing doors or hanging doors or creating a door space, give me a shout. This is not one of my fortes. It's something I really don't know much about. It may end up being like everything else. I just keep trying at it until I either figure it out or it kind of works enough to be passable. I don't know. Let's see what else. We have water. I don't know if you can see in the corner over here, that little stop sticking up. We have water run to the greenhouse, but obviously we haven't plumbed anything out, and I won't plumb it out until we've got the setup done, until I've got everything placed where I want it to be and doing what I want it to do. Short of that, I might just run a piece of pipe up and hang a faucet off of it, so it's a little spigot, so I have something to get water out of in this space. But overall, like plumbing, running throughout the greenhouse for different spigots, or replenishing the water wall, or feeding the hydroponic table, I won't have any of that set up until everything is set in place. Let's see what else. If you look through the doorway, you can see the heater. We had it mounted. We took it down so we could put the plastic up, and now we just need to put it back on the wall. The holes are drilled, the bolts are there, everything's ready to go, but it does take 2 people to pick up and connect it. So we'll get that done either Monday or Tuesday when Kevin comes back. pretty quick, shouldn't be too difficult. And then I need to wire that into full power. So probably need 50 feet of cable, 25 for the vent and 25 for the power on that. Let's see, what else did we get done? We got some work on the driveway done this week. Let's walk over there. Okay, so driveway work. When we originally had the property spec'd out, and we had the land development company come in my ignorance, I spec'd out a 20-foot driveway with a 12-inch culvert, and that's what they delivered. What I didn't, a lot of times I don't know what I don't know. I didn't realize that the 90-degree turn was going to be way too tight for pretty much anything other than a standard vehicle. Coming off our gravel road for any kind of supply truck or delivery truck, it just wasn't wide enough. There wasn't enough space to make that turn. So also, not very good planning on my part, at the back of the property, in the 4-foot drainage ditch, I had buried a 1-foot culvert to have water go under, not realizing how much erosion would take place as that ditch settled itself in, and how much dirt would fill into that pipe because it's so small. So after a couple months of being in place, had to figure something else out. So what I did was dig the pipe out. We dug out the 20-foot pipe out of the 4-foot ditch, and we moved it up here. Sorry for the weird angles on the camera, but we moved it up here. So we added about 15 feet to one side and 5 to the other. So as part of that, we dug that ditch out, extended it, put a grade to it, and then buried the culvert down into the ground, covered it up with the excess dirt, and then we brought in 5 tons of rock on Friday and got this covered up and packed in, used the excavator, just kind of drove back and forth over it to pack it. I need at least another 2.5 tons worth of rock right here just to level out that apron, like fix the apron a little bit out on the edge. And rather than doing a dump and drag on that, I'll actually use the excavator, dig it out of the trailer, set it where I want it, and then spread it a little more accurately that way. There's a small hole or divot in the corner of the driveway up there. We'll use the rest of the material to fill that in and kind of level and round that corner so it's not quite such a 90. As you drive out of there, you have a tendency to kind of round that turn, cut to the inside, and you kind of cut down low, and it's making a pretty big hole there. So we're going to use the other 2.5 tons of material to fix that. But that'll be 2 loads of rock. Now, we got the funding to fix this from the Tobacco Farm Trust. They had a program this summer where they were giving a stipend for people that were doing agritourism development. And part of the problem that we had with having people come to the farm was that our driveway was washing out because the way the pipe was installed. When I tried to do the original connection and extension, it didn't go well. I messed it up, and we had a lot of erosion problems. And that erosion came because I did not get the rock on there. You know, I thought I could just do it with dirt. Again, you don't know what you don't know all the time. And the dirt just washed away. It allowed the pipes, water to get underneath the drainage pipe and lifted it, and it was washing away the driveway. So we got a stipend from the Farm Trust to fix that, and it was one of the things that we needed to do before we could start allowing guests to come out, was make the driveway drivable. By the time it's done, we'll have, like I said, an extra 15 feet at the entrance, added on and rocked over, and then a nice apron for a swinging turn to come in. And we use the excavator to kind of funnel the water flow around the driveway and down to the ditch, instead of letting it just run down the side of the rock, which was causing more erosion problems. So we may need to redirect that a little bit more. I don't know if you can see it here. We've got this little ditch that we've dug. Water has so far been running down that with no problem. But as we did some test turns and swinging wide, it turned out that this part right here was just a little bit too close. Like, we need to start a little more over to the side and clean that out, bring some of that rock in and fix that right there to increase the size of the apron. Right idea, just wrong engineering. I'm sure somewhere there's a calculator or a reference or whatever that tells you how big the turn has to be and how wide everything has to be. Engineering's not my forte. None of this is my forte. I'm just kind of learning as I go. Let's see, what else did we get done this week? That was about it for major movements. Other than that, we've just been doing harvesting, some light harvesting, weeding. We've got our lettuce going in the hydroponic table. That should be another 2 weeks out. Let's see what else. We've got a bunch of starts that we restarted after the last heavy rains. They should probably go in starting in about a week. They're getting some good size on them. We'll do some more soil blocking this afternoon and tomorrow, get another round of starts going. We've got a number of beds that are either empty right now or that are waiting, and that kind of happened because we didn't know what was going to go on with Hurricane Helene, and I didn't want to put anything in before another major storm. We'll just wait and see what happens. So now that that has passed, my thoughts and prayers go out to Western North Carolina. It really does. It's weird to be on the sidelines for once. Usually it's us. So to watch someone else dealing with that level of catastrophe is tough. While I'm grateful that it wasn't us, I'm sad that it had to be anybody. I don't know. There's a lot of supply runs and stuff being organized to run materials and stuff out there. And I've seen a couple of GoFundMes already pop up to help farms like ours that were completely destroyed. One of the things that I don't know that people always recognize is that when it's springtime and it's just starting to warm up and you're just starting to think about summer plans and vacations and taking the boat out, the farmers are already planning for fall. And by the time you get to the beach and you're enjoying your summer, we're looking at winter, meaning that we're always 6 months ahead or planning, looking 6 months ahead. And a lot of times our crop rotations are based on that 6 months ahead. So a lot of these farms just lost, several months worth of production that's coming. For example, we're setting all of our broccoli now for winter harvest. If all of that got wiped out for them, that means their winter income is gone. Not only is that winter income gone, but then there's the total destruction of the farm ground itself, where the mud washed away, the beds, or covered things up, or silted things in, however it might have worked. Basically, they have to start over from scratch and start rebuilding a farm from nothing. And that's tough. That's 6 months worth of work, not to mention the lost revenue and the lost crops. And, it's going to hit them really hard. I just hope, that there's some kind of program to help them. FEMA is really good about rebuilding houses and whatnot. I hope the USDA can do something to help these small farms. Not that commodity, farms don't get hurt or get hit as well, but they're at harvest time, and I'll be honest with you, they have federal crop insurance. Small farms like ours don't qualify for it, and although we can get policies written, they're extremely expensive, to the point where it just doesn't justify, what you would get back versus what it cost, and it's just, the justification's not there. So, these people are a lot of them probably be facing bankruptcy if they don't get some kind of help, some kind of grants. And it's not a political thing. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you fall on. We don't eat without these farms. And more of our food is coming from places where you have no idea what's happening to it or how long it was on a boat. If you want to continue to have farmers markets, we have to find a way to help these guys. And it's, you know, there were dozens, if not more, of these farms all throughout western North Carolina and Tennessee, and they're all in a lot of trouble. I don't know what the answer is. We're going to donate some. I came across 2 GoFundMes. We're going to give a little bit to each of them, as many as we can. But you know, we're kind of, I mean, we're a farm too. We're not exactly made of money. We'll give what we can. I just hope that everybody else does as well. But that is the overall for the week. We'll take a cruise past these other plots real quick. Talk about a little bit about what's going on there, and we'll go. That'll be it for the week. We are at the time of year when we're starting to cut back on microgreen production. That frees up a little time for us to work out here more. So no more extras each week for the chefs to draw from. If they don't have a standing order, won't be there. But let's see what we got going on. So we've got lettuce in here. It's mainly red head lettuce. Unfortunately, it went in right before the last heavy rain and it got stunted out. We did feed it this past week. I'm hoping to jump start it with that. We got some baby bok choy here. We lost half a bed of turnips up there to that last rain. They got beaten down. The plants lost their nitrogen feed, and the caterpillars immediately jumped on them. As soon as they got weak, the caterpillars were on them. We don't have anything in this bed. We're getting ready to put some greens in here tomorrow. We will uncover it, run the tilter through it, fertilize it, and run some greens. This one is kohlrabi. The back half doesn't have anything in it. I'm not sure what I'm going to put back in there. It might be lettuce or another round of radish, something like that. This bed has carrots in it. They're just now starting to germinate. I can see them popping up in the rows. Probably another 2 days, all of them will be up. As soon as those get up and get to about an inch, these peppers right here will come out. This bed will get flipped over and become carrots itself. In here, we've got some bok choy in the back. We sold some at market this weekend. There's some small head lettuces in here, and I'm going to put in some Merlot Chinese cabbage in here today or tomorrow. Okay, so in this hoop house, you can see the top end still has some green to it. This whole half of the greenhouse flooded twice, and it killed pretty much all of our transplants. So we are going to have to backfill those. The ones that are here, even though we're spraying with BT, are getting hit by the caterpillars pretty strongly. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. So the back half of this bed was arugula. Some of it survived. Like 95% of that 25-foot bed is completely smoked. There's a little bit in there I'll cut for our own purposes for salad, but the rest of this will get flame weeded tomorrow, tilled up and replanted in something else. In the first hoop house over here, we have, let's see, let's spin around real quick. So in here on the right hand side is our winter boar kale. The front half of the 2 middle rows are both celery. That's looking really good. The back half is carrots. It's looking pretty good. This row over here, despite looking really good, is actually not in great shape at all. It got flooded out, so most of the lettuce and arugula that was planted in there died off. It had really sporadic germination after that, you know, as far as growth. But it backfilled itself with a lot of wasabi. And my original plan was I'll just let it grow and harvest it, and then I'll sort out the lettuce and the wasabi in the wash bin and divide it up there. However, the entire bed is malnourished from the flooding. So we're just going to go ahead and cut that and torch it and put it to rest, start over. So that pretty much covers all of our beds and what we got going. We had a good head of steam. We got rained out twice in a row. We're finally getting some decent weather and building up another good head of steam. The other side has got some good greens growth. We were able to fix the malnutrition issues, and we're going to get a lot more greens seeded on this side this week. Try and maintain that consistency at market for you and keep stuff in the store. But with that, I'll bid you a good day. Thanks for watching. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button below. And if you have any thoughts or comments, post them below. And if you have any ideas for that door, let me know. Thanks.